Okay, guys, so this is just an interlude, a pre-interlude before there's no such thing. I guess an interlude is a... Anyways, who cares? So I am making this little section now before this video because something a little bit embarrassing is in this video. Okay, I put Vaseline, not Vaseline, vapor rub on my nose in the morning before I shot this video, and then in the video, it looks like I have a schnoll in the video, and I had already edited it and done everything before I noticed. So yes, I know you're gonna ask me how could I have done that, edited the whole video, shot everything before I even noticed, but it goes away in a little bit, okay? I wipe it away in a little bit, so just deal with it for the first few seconds. I was really proud of the editing of this video, and I don't have the time or the energy right now to edit. You'll see later on in the course, I get a little bit slower with my editing. I get a little bit more like, this is just a training video sort of style instead of all this fun, more YouTubey sort of training or editing. So that's that. So please just forgive that with the schnoll looking vapor rub in the video. And I hope you learned something. That's the whole point of the course and the video, is to learn something. It's a really good video. Just get past that for the first 10 seconds and you'll be fine, okay? There is another video coming up. I think it was video 8 that I'm going to do a similar thing like this in for that one as well, because I shot those 2 videos on the same day. The next course will be more professional, okay? This course is all about me learning how to do these courses. But anyways, go to the video, enjoy it, and I'll see you right now, but then in video 8 with me again right now, okay? All right, we are back with drone flight planning into section 4. Section 4 is taking everything we learned from the previous section and putting it into practice. How do we actually do this in a step-by-step format? It is only 1 page, so don't worry too much. Follow the steps in order. Literally, all you have to do every time to get it right is follow these 12 steps. First, find the drone manual and the performance specs. Read through your drone manual and specs list. Always read your manual before you actually do anything with your drone. A lot of people say like, yeah, sure, manuals, right? And I am the same. However, in experience, I have learned that doing this is very beneficial. 3, find and read all other components manuals. Find the manual and read it for your battery, even your propellers. You know, if you want to know more about your propellers, how they work, how robust they are how strong they are, your propellers are important to know about. 4, inspect the RPAS before departing for field. So you're going to inspect the whole, do a whole inspection. You do the pre-flight checks like we did now. You do it before you leave for the site. You do it on site. You do it before you take off, and you do it after you've landed. You do it 4 times if you're doing 1 flight. You do it multiple times if you're doing multiple flights, of course. Make sure you've got everything that you need. Make sure that you've got the equipment you need, the resources you need. You know, how many batteries are you going to need? The fuel. If you're going somewhere where there's no fuel, make sure your car's full of fuel. If you need food, if there's no food around, make sure you pack food. Literally just think about every situation of what could go wrong and how could I prevent that, or how could I at least make things easier for myself. 5 is to pre-flight check the drone once at the field. So now you've packed everything, you've checked everything, good to go. You then drive to the field or the site, wherever you're going to fly. You unpack everything and you do a check again. This time you check specifically on your drone stuff, all right? You want to make sure that your drone stuff's working. You've already checked everything else. 6 is to set up and trim your drone according to the manual. So this is assuming that this is your first time flying this drone. You're going to set it up and trim it. If you've trimmed your drone, it's probably going to stay trimmed forever and ever, unless something goes wrong with it, okay? Unless you crash or something like that. Let's say you have trimmed it already. You're going to set up your drone according to the manual. You're then going to calibrate the drone to the current position. Again, the manual will tell you how to do that. 8 is to test fly the drone, where you're checking the trims, you're checking the control of the drone, you're checking that it's set up the way you want it to be set up, and it's set up properly, it's set up the way the manual said. If you're happy with all of that and you're happy that there's no lag and things like that, then you move on to the next step, which is step 9, set up fail-safes as according to the manual. So your manual will tell you, this drone has these fail-safes. It's up to you to choose, I want these fail-safes to work, all right? And then you have to set them up according to that. 10 is to set up other other, according to the manual. This can be things like geofencing. This is basically preconditioned fail-safes where it sets this up even though there's not an emergency situation. So it's things like geofencing where it'll automatically set the drone in this invisible room, even though it doesn't mean that we're expecting the drone to fly far away. It's just doing that as an extra parameter of safety. And that is what other is categorized as. 11 is to test fly the drone, to check your fail safes and to check other. You test fly the drone again. So you have one battery at least, half a battery to test fly first, half a battery to test fly second. And you check these things that you've just worked on now. And then 12 is to check that the radio, if required, is working. You test call to TIBA. So you get a radio, an airband radio, which will come up like every now and again, but this course isn't specifically focused on radio work. It's focused on all the stuff before you fly. But we do need to talk about this because it's important. If you are required to talk to traffic around you, if you are doing a mission that requires that, then you need to check your radio. Firstly, you need to check that the battery, is charged and it's working. You need to check that your radio is working. How do you do this? You test call to TIBA. TIBA it's just the traffic around you. So it's the traffic that you broadcast to in an uncontrolled airspace that is low level. So you'll just go on your radio and you'll say traffic or all nearby low level traffic. Literally whatever you want to say to call out to TIBA traffic. And then you say testing radio, and then hopefully someone responds. If no one responds, it doesn't really matter as long as you've checked your radio somewhere, because your radio can connect to different frequencies. So you can test it. You can get two radios, put this one on this frequency, this one on the same frequency. Test works. That's literally this section, plain and easy. How to set up an RPAS, a practical guide. All right, I'm going to see you then in the next section. The next section is section 5. What drone to use and why. This is going to be looking specifically at, if you only have a specific type of drone, you can only do specific type of things with that drone. If I have a fixed wing drone, I can't hover the drone. If I have a multi-rotor drone, I can't have it fly at 100 kilometers per hour. So we're going to look at what drone you're going to use, where and why, looking at drone specs, drone operations, and drone limitations.